It is not impossible to store it in the storage dimension, but Qing Shui is unwilling to part with it. The Sword of Slaughter, Qing Shui insisted on giving it to Wang Lin, who accepted it. Wang Lin had already acquired a small amount of the slaughter origin after the first battle in the Sea of Clouds, though it was weak and had just begun to form, not yet fully revealed. With the Sword of Slaughter, Wang Lin's origin power became that of the Six Paths. As for the battle mark, which is not a part of his origin, it had already transformed into the Star of Law some time ago, deeply embedded within Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin had no intention of immediately refining and absorbing the slaughter origin. The time wasn't right. He planned to wait until his three fundamental origins, cause and effect, life and death, truth and falsehood, were fully matured. Then, at the moment of breaking through the Gate of Void, he would absorb the slaughter origin in one swift action, opening the gate and becoming a rare Six Paths origin Dao attainer throughout all of history. Qing Shui descended from the sky, silently gazing at the Gate of Void as it gradually dissipated. He raised his right hand, grasped the green dragon blood wine flask from the air, and took a sip. The sharpness of the taste caused his eyes to gleam with cold light. He handed the flask to Wang Lin. The two sat on the Savage Star, watching the vanishing Gate of Void. The cold wind howled, lifting dust from the ground. They silently drank the wine, neither speaking. Wang Lin did not ask whether Qing Shui had found the answers he had been seeking at the Cultivation Alliance headquarters in the Rainbow Realm. Qing Shui also did not speak, for he alone understood what he had discovered, what he had come to realize. However, as his understanding deepened, he only grew more silent. A game. Qing Shui's eyes flashed with cold light, though his face was bitter. He took the wine flask from Wang Lin, drank deeply, and then burst into laughter. Wang Lin, promise me something. Qing Shui's laughter contained a sense of determination as he looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin did not speak, but nodded. If one day I die, and if my body remains intact, take it and bury it in my hometown. On the tombstone, leave no name. Just 1 foot of earth will be the best resting place for me. Qing Shui gazed at the sky. What if there's no home left? Wang Lin remained silent, and after a long pause, he slowly spoke. Then bury me in the world. Qing Shui drank another mouthful of dragon blood, the liquid trickling down his lips in red streaks that shone under the sunlight. Good. Wang Lin took the flask from Qing Shui, drank deeply, his expression serious. His eyes flickered, and he spoke solemnly again. If I die before you, take me back to the Vermilion Bird Star, Zhao Kingdom, the Wang family. Qing Shui looked at Wang Lin and nodded slowly. It was a promise. Dragon blood wine is potent and intoxicating, but neither Wang Lin nor Qing Shui could be drunk by it. The wine was running low, and they sat on the ground as the Gate of Void continued to dissipate, drinking, their flask nearly empty. Wang Lin, I've never asked you, do you have heirs? Qing Shui closed his eyes, a hint of loneliness in his expression, his voice soft. I have a son. Wang Lin's eyes carried sorrow. He took a large gulp of the dragon blood wine, which, now in his stomach, no longer stung but instead turned to a piercing pain. I have a daughter. Qing Shui opened his eyes, a trace of reminiscence in his gaze, though it carried a bitter taste. But I can't find her anymore. By now, perhaps she's already gone forever. Qing Shui's reminiscence was tinged with sadness. He still remembered the moment when he had woken up, holding his wife's lifeless body and wailing. In the distance, amidst the blood and broken remains, he had seen a girl around 7 or 8 years old, clutching a dead immortal crane, her hollow eyes staring at him, at her mother. She may have reincarnated, may have been reborn, but on her left shoulder, I left a red mark when she was born. This mark will stay with her forever. If you ever meet a girl like that, please take care of her. The illusory Gate of Void in the sky finally vanished completely. Qing Shui stood up, exhaling deeply, his eyes flashing with cold light. Wang Lin, I want to kill. Qing Shui raised his right hand, and an aura of slaughter origin, the utmost in killing power, erupted from his body, gathering in his hand, turning it into a chilling black mist. The mist swirled like cotton, rising, and in that instant, the entire Savage Star was enveloped in a cold aura. The slaughter origin is a very unique power, extremely rare throughout history. Once obtained, It could easily break open the gate of void. This origin is the very limit of killing. Though Qing Shui's cultivation was still in the early void nirvana stage, with his slaughter origin and his tens of thousands of years of battle experience, the killing power he could unleash would cause even a late-stage void nirvana cultivator to pale in fear. Want to kill, huh? Alright. Wang Lin stood up and took a step toward the sky. Ripples spread out from his feet, and he disappeared into the void. Qing Shui, his body shrouded in icy cold, took a step as well, following Wang Lin into the disappearing ripples, vanishing without a trace. If we were to compare the Kungsu star domain to a pond, the floating particles in the water would represent each cultivation star. Right now, two parallel ripples have appeared on the surface, as if two arrowfish were speeding through the water. There aren't many cultivators from the outer realm in the Kungsu star domain. After all, the Cultivation Alliance serves as their temporary headquarters. Most of the few outer realm cultivators that remained were wiped out in a previous massacre that shook the entire starry sky. This massacre was instigated by a master-disciple duo, and under the absolute cultivation level of Long Pansy, it was nearly impossible for any outer realm cultivators to survive. However, Long Pansy's target was Zhaohe, and he did not linger in Kungsu. He left behind a few that managed to slip through the cracks. 3 outer realm cultivators, marked with symbols on their foreheads, now appeared with panicked expressions. They cautiously sped through the starry sky, even slowing their pace, fearful that speeding too fast might cause ripples that would attract attention. The jade slip isn't reacting. It's likely that everyone else is doomed. Damn it, what happened? We can't return to the Cultivation Alliance headquarters. I'm worried something's gone wrong there too. Could it be that there's a massive counterattack from the inner realm? We should find a cultivation star to hide on and wait until the army storms in. Then we can reappear. While the 3 of them were communicating via voice transmission, 2 ripples passed by in the starry sky to their right. One of the ripples carried an overwhelming killing intent, directly piercing through the 3 cultivators. There was no scream, but after the ripples passed, the 3 outer realm cultivators shuddered. Their bodies cracked into countless fine fissures and shattered instantly, their essence spirits splitting apart, dissipating into nothingness. The same scene unfolded throughout Kungsu, Luotian, and Yunhai. Following Long Pansy's recent massacre, the few remaining outer realm cultivators in these 3-star domains once again faced the frenzied wrath of Qing Shui. Blood flowers bloomed, the final beauty of their lives. After sweeping through the 3-star domains, the 2 ripples rushed into Zhaohe. Zhaohe had been completely taken over by outer realm cultivators, and many of them resided there. As soon as the ripples entered Zhaohe, the air thickened with the stench of blood. However, the blood could not stop the ripples, which continued to move at an astonishing speed, passing over one cultivation star after another. Eventually, they headed straight for the depths of Zhaohe, toward the last rainbow realm. This was where the true body of Red Fir Master was sealed. In the starry sky, a huge crack emitted a radiant, multicolored light. Outside the crack, severed limbs and broken arms littered the surroundings, with countless outer realm cultivators perishing in the area. Thunderous roars emanated from the rainbow realm, clearly indicating that a fierce battle was underway inside. The 2 ripples drew closer, carrying overwhelming waves of killing intent. As they approached, the starry sky behind them froze with a cracking sound, and they charged directly toward the rainbow crack. As they neared the crack, the severed limbs, broken arms, and countless corpses outside the crack were all encased in ice, an intense chill filling the air. The killing intent dissipated the moment they reached the rainbow crack, and Qing Shui, dressed in green robes, stepped out. Without hesitation, he entered the rainbow realm. Wang Lin also appeared, looking slightly fatigued but stepping forward into the realm. As soon as Wang Lin set foot in Zhaohe's rainbow realm, he heard screams echoing around him. This rainbow realm was different from the 2 he had previously encountered. It was made up of several floating continents. But right now, the continents were crumbling, and only 3 fragments remained suspended in the air. On those continents, Long Pansy was engaged in a fierce battle with an old man in black robes. With each wave of their hands, the ground shook and loud rumbles filled the air. Wang Lin recognized the old man in black. He was the leader of the Celestial Punishment Hall of the Council of Elders, who had been trapped by the Seal's sovereign spirit in the first battle in Yunhai. This old man's cultivation was second only to the 5 great venerables in the primordial stars. He had reached the early profound void stage. Unlike Long Pansy, who had destroyed his life force in exchange for power, but rather, this old man had truly attained the early profound void stage. Beneath the 3 floating continents, tens of thousands of outer realm cultivators sat cross-legged, murmuring incantations. Above their heads, the power of devotional power floated and transformed into bizarre creatures that howled and surrounded Long Pansy and the Celestial Punishment Hall leader, assisting them in battle. Qing Shui arrived even before Wang Lin. Upon his arrival, he glanced at Long Pansy and the Celestial Punishment Hall leader in the sky. His eyes flashed with cold light as he stepped forward, charging directly toward the tens of thousands of outer realm cultivators. The shrill screams Wang Lin had heard upon entering this place came from these cultivators. Qing Shui was a bloodthirsty killer, especially now, after reaching the peak of slaughter origin and breaking through the gate of void. He had lived his life immersed in slaughter, and now he charged forward, his hands sweeping through the air, causing souls to be born and destroyed in an instant. Wang Lin's eyes flickered as he looked up, his gaze briefly passing over Long Panji and the Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment. Above them, within the swirling rainbow mist, a giant Dao fruit hung down from the clouds. This boy was none other than the true body of Red Fir Master. He had no heavenly reversal and could not absorb the chaotic Dao thoughts within the Dao fruit. His only fate was death. The slaughter continued, and piercing screams echoed from all directions. The bizarre creatures attacking Long Panji and the Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment scattered with a low growl, heading straight for Qing Shui, who was mercilessly mowing down enemies with a cold, emotionless expression. Before me, even mere ghosts dare to bare their fangs. Qing Shui's eyes gleamed coldly as he raised his left hand and waved it forward. Instantly, a black storm erupted with a deafening roar. This storm contained the slaughter origin and surged into the sky. The moment it collided with the approaching strange creatures, the storm shattered violently. The slaughter origin spread rapidly, sweeping past the creatures, who trembled as cracking sounds rang out from their bodies. In the blink of an eye, they were frozen into black ice blocks. It wasn't just freezing. Within the black ice, countless ice spikes emerged, piercing through the strange creatures. Wang Lin took a step forward. He didn't look at the outer realm cultivators slain by Qing Shui, nor did he move toward Long Panji's battle. Instead, as his steps grew faster, he soon approached the Dao fruit beneath the rainbow clouds. All of this happened in an instant. From the moment Wang Lin and Qing Shui entered this place, only a few breaths had passed. The Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment suddenly turned around and saw Wang Lin, his expression filled with surprise. Sealing venerable, the Hall Master's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he was about to retreat and intercept, but Long Panji's cold, indifferent voice stopped him. With a flick of his sleeve, a vast, ancient aura surged around, halting the Hall Master's steps. There is no victor between us yet. With Long Panji's obstruction, the Hall Master's eyes filled with cold light. Seeing that Wang Lin was heading for the Dao fruit, he decided to ignore him. To him, Wang Lin, with only the title of Sealing Venerable, was no threat. Especially since Wang Lin was foolishly attempting to save Red Fir Master, which seemed utterly beyond his capabilities. At this moment, the Hall Master formed a seal with his hands, gathering devotional power, and he began to engage Long Panji in battle once more. In the Rainbow Realm, under Wang Lin's rapid steps, he reached the Dao fruit, gazing at Red Fir Master within. His eyes flashed as he raised his right hand and struck the Dao fruit. With a thunderous crash, a recoil force erupted from the Dao fruit, sending Wang Lin stumbling back a few steps. He raised his head, and his eyes gleamed with a hint of deduction. When Wang Lin's strike hit the Dao fruit, the thin threads connecting Red Fir Master's body twisted. It seemed to transfer all the energy into Red Fir Master's body, causing his expression to twist in agony. His eyes suddenly opened wide, revealing hollow sockets. Wang Lin stepped forward again, raising his right hand and striking 6 more times. The recoil force roared with each strike. The Tao fruit seemed unchanged, except that Red Fir Master's pain grew, and his eyes became even emptier. With your measly cultivation, you dare attempt to destroy the Tao fruit and save someone. This Tao fruit, not even I could destroy. Let's see how you save Red Fir Master. The seal set by the Palm Sovereign is not something you can break. The more you attack, the more you assist the Tao fruit in refining Red Fir Master, turning him into my outer realm puppet. The Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment sneered coldly as he glanced over. Standing before the Tao fruit, Wang Lin listened to the Hall Master's words, glanced back at him, and spoke slowly. Is that so? The Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment sneered. He had previously worried about Wang Lin's title of Sealing Venerable, perhaps thinking that he might have some extraordinary method to break the Tao fruit. After all, he vividly remembered the power of the previous Sealing Venerable. But now his mind was at ease. He was sure Wang Lin could not break the Tao fruit. Relaxed, he shifted his gaze toward Qing Shui, who was engaging in battle with Long Panji. The more he looked, the more alarmed he became. Slaughter origin. It's slaughter origin. Once they join forces, this battle will be difficult. It's time to retreat. As the battle with Long Panji raged on, the Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment's body flickered. With a resounding boom, he shook off Long Panji's entanglement, stepping toward the exit of the Rainbow Realm. Perhaps the 3 of you together can save Red Fir Master. I'll take my leave. The Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment disappeared in a flash, but just as he was about to leave, Qing Shui suddenly looked up, raising his right hand and sweeping it forward. A wave of black energy erupted, spreading the slaughter origin, forming a patch of cold ice. This wasn't an attack, but it surged directly toward the exit of the Rainbow Realm. The moment it landed, it froze the exit solid. I haven't had enough slaughter. The dragon disciple similarly raised his right hand, forming a seal with his fingers. A mighty rivers and mountains painting roared to life, blocking the path of the Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment. As he stepped forward, it shot straight toward the black-robed elder. I haven't had my fill either, so don't be in such a hurry to leave. A cold light flashed in the Hall Master's eyes. He suddenly turned to face Qing Shui and Dragon Disciple, his expression darkening. He made no attempt to leave, instead sweeping his sleeve, and from behind him emerged the realm of devotional power. If you won't let me go, then you will pay the price. Dragon Disciple remained silent, and with a flick of his right hand, the rivers and mountains painting, now imbued with an immense pulling force, resonated with a strange power. The mountains and rivers within the painting seemed to awaken, and they began to materialize within the 7-colored realm. Stepping forward, Dragon Disciple's figure vanished and melded into the painting itself. As the mountains and rivers spun, they surged toward the Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment. Earlier, Dragon Disciple had already burned his life force, and now, disregarding his own well-being, the mountains and rivers suddenly transformed into a massive hand. This hand blazed with fire, unleashing the strongest cultivation power Dragon Disciple had ever mustered as it aimed to grab the Hall Master. At this moment, Qing Shui looked up. With a flick of his right hand, he calmly spoke, "Dark Moon." As soon as the words left his mouth, he waved his right hand forward, pointing at the Hall Master from across the distance. The 7-colored realm quaked violently, and dark clouds appeared around the black-robed elder's body. The appearance of these clouds was abrupt, and at that instant, a circular totem materialized on the elder's face. This totem resembled a full moon. Solar radiance. Qing Shui's eyes flashed with murderous intent. In an instant, the moon on the elder's face exploded into beams of light, thousands of miles long. These rays, like the sun's rays, flickered so violently that it seemed as if the full moon on his face would shatter. White Fan's art. This is the 666 Paths art of White Fan. White Fan is dead. You are Qing Shui. The full moon on the elder's face distorted. Under normal circumstances, with his powerful cultivation, he could have resisted this technique. But now, as the blinding sunlight erupted from his face, the massive hand, which Dragon Disciple had transformed into by burning everything, was bearing down on him. Qing Shui took another step forward, a monstrous aura of slaughter emanating from him as he charged at the black-robed elder. With their simultaneous strikes, a deafening roar erupted, shaking the entire seven-colored realm. The shockwaves spread out, sweeping everything in its path. The three floating continents in the sky collapsed under this force, turning into countless shards of stone that scattered into the air, turning into dust. The Outer Realm cultivators who hadn't been killed by Qing Shui's previous actions had no escape now. Even though they unleashed their most powerful treasures, they disintegrated one by one, dying in the wake of the devastating force. The entire seven-colored realm seemed to be flattened as it began to collapse on a massive scale. The hand formed by Dragon Disciple shattered under the shockwave, and his figure reappeared, stumbling back several paces. He spat out a mouthful of essence spirit chi, his face pale, but his eyes remained calm. Qing Shui, too, was thrown back. His cultivation was insufficient, and although his slaughter origin was powerful, he had still sustained injuries. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth, but his expression was icy cold. The Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment spat out blood and staggered. The countless streams of devotional power that had been blocking Dragon Disciple and Qing Shui's strikes shattered. As the moon on his face dissipated, 5 deep cracks appeared across his face, extending into his skull and spreading throughout his body. Sunlight flickered from the cracks, and as they expanded, intense pain engulfed the black-robed elder. Within his body, the aura of slaughter crashed against his defenses. Half of his mountain-like figure was destroyed, and a massive handprint appeared on his back. This handprint was surrounded by swirling mountains and rivers, causing his body to wither instantly. His expression darkened as he coldly spoke. "I will help you save Red Fir Master. If we join forces, we can open the Dao fruit. In exchange, let me leave. Otherwise, if I suffer grievous injury, both of you will die with me." "No need." The response came in a cold voice from Wang Lin. In the Hall Master's shocked gaze, Wang Lin raised his right hand. As soft light spread, he reached into the massive Dao fruit without triggering any backlash. Gripping Red Fir Master, he yanked him out, pulling him from the Dao fruit. The countless threads connecting Red Fir Master shattered under Wang Lin's pull, and Red Fir Master's hollow eyes immediately regained their luster. "No one understands this Dao fruit better than I do. Not even the Palm Sovereign you speak of." Wang Lin released Red Fir Master and waved his right hand toward the branches on the Dao fruit. A flash of blood light swept through, and with a slash of the blood sword, the branches were severed. The Dao fruit fell, and Wang Lin caught it, turning to face the stunned Hall Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment. "This is impossible." The Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment instinctively stepped back a few paces, staring blankly at the scene before him. He couldn't believe it. Wang Lin had so easily rescued Red Fir Master. "I swallowed a Dao fruit and absorbed it completely," Wang Lin said calmly as he waved his hand, storing the Dao fruit away. The Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment looked at Wang Lin, cupped his hands, and bowed. "Thank you, Sealing Venerable." He then turned around and, with a fierce gaze, locked his eyes on the Master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment, his eyes flashing with wisdom. "Qin Juyan, even if you burn your cultivation, you cannot escape today. You won't die. I will refine you into a blood avatar, and you will become a great asset to my inner realm." Red Fir Master spoke as he stepped forward, transforming into a red shadow, dashing toward the front. The elderly man in black was pale, though a powerful cultivator. He was still a mortal cultivator. Faced with 4 opponents, he was helpless. As Red Fir Master neared, the elderly man quickly retreated. However, behind him, Dragon Disciple calmly raised his right hand, and the rivers and mountains painting rumbled, sweeping through all directions. Qing Shui's expression was icy. He raised his right hand and pointed at the elderly man in black. Instantly, 5 cracks appeared on his face, and they tore open again. The dark moon with clear sky art erupted with terrifying power, attacking the elderly man's body in a unique and continuous burst. Wang Lin remained calm. At the moment the 3 others made their moves, he raised his right hand. His eyes flashed with golden light, and a golden radiance surged into his fingertips, pointing toward the elderly man in black from afar. "Freeze." This was a battle without suspense. the Rainbow Realm collapsed, and in the end, Qin Zhuyin, master of the Hall of Heavenly Punishment, was defeated and imprisoned by Red Fir Master. Dragon Disciple's burning soul finally showed signs of extinguishing with Red Fir Master's help. Wounded, he left with his disciple Zhong Xuanzi, silently awaiting the next clash between the inner and outer realms. Red Fir Master invited Wang Lin to the Cloud Sea battle platform, where, under the title of Sealing Venerable, he would become the soul of the remaining war and lead the cultivators of the inner realm in a final counterattack. Wang Lin did not go. He had obtained 3 Dao fruits, and his priority was to allow the 3 origins to fully mature before the repulsive force within his body erupted, opening the gate of void to attain the Dao. Qing Shui left, his green robes fluttering in the starry sky, carrying his sorrow and loneliness as he silently departed. He sought his daughter, unsure if he would ever find her. Yet, no matter what, if Wang Lin called, even from the ends of the earth, he would return. Between them, words were unnecessary. The shared experiences were enough, and Qing Shui would never forget them. In the vastness of the starry sky, for Qing Shui, there were now only 2 people who mattered, and one of them was his junior brother, Wang Lin. Red Fir Master's escape brought a great surge of hope to the cultivators of the inner realm, and the reclamation of Zhao River further revived the spirit of the remaining cultivators. The death of Celestial Omen Master, the joining of Dragon Disciple, and the capture of Qin Zhuyin, among other events, reignited the faith of the cultivators in the inner realm. Now, the inner realm no longer had the Rainbow Realm, and there were no flaws remaining, especially after the decades of war. Every cultivator had gained a blood-tinged resolve, understanding that they must continue fighting. If they failed, death was the only other option, especially with Red Fir Master's words, sealing venerable returns. The cultivators of the inner realm raised their heads, their battle spirits burning even fiercer. In the Kungsu Star Domain, at the intersection of the Cloud Sea, Zhao River, and Luotian, there was a cultivation star. During the war, it had slowly developed into a massive trading market. Such cultivation stars had appeared along the borders of the 4 great star domains. Cultivators from all 4 domains traded resources there, leading to a slow fusion of the 4 great star domains. At this moment, in the cultivation star known as Kungsu Yiling, the marketplace was filled with cultivators from various star domains, bustling with activity. Among them, the female cultivators from Zhao River were the most renowned. Despite Zhao River's fall and the many deaths during the last counterattack, many Zhao River female cultivators had broken through the siege. Although Zhao River had just been recaptured, with many female cultivators returning to their homeland from other star domains, there was a sense of revival in the air. The Zhao River female cultivators, with their beautiful faces and the fragrance of their femininity, caused many single cultivators from the other star domains to exert all their efforts, hoping to find a lifelong companion or a fleeting Dao partner. With the presence of Zhao River's female cultivators, the marketplace became even livelier. In this marketplace, there were also inns providing places for cultivators to meditate and refine their skills. Each room in these inns was filled with spirit stones and some immortal jade. Some inns with deep backgrounds even offered primordial jade for the senior cultivators to nurture their primordial strength. At this moment, in the market district of the Cultivation Star, which was filled with a dense atmosphere, inside a moderately sized inn in the eastern part of the district, many cultivators were seated at tables scattered throughout the hall. Although cultivators could cultivate without the need for food, certain immortal fruits, fine wines, or even simple mundane dishes could evoke memories from when they had not yet embarked on their cultivation journey. As a result, the inn was often crowded with guests. Furthermore, due to the ongoing Outer Realm War, this place also provided an opportunity for cultivators from all sides to meet, exchange skills and techniques, and perhaps a simple encounter would lead to a future reunion on the battlefield. At this moment, by a few tables in the northern section of the inn, several cultivators sat. Among them was a middle-aged scholar, who, with a smile, was conversing with his fellow cultivators. As I said before, I once met the Seal Sovereign. You all refused to believe it. Across from him sat 2 women, both of whom were strikingly beautiful, though they appeared to be of different ages. The woman dressed in a pink Taoist robe with her long hair cascading over her shoulders was younger and, upon hearing the scholar, curiously asked in a soft voice, "Where did you meet the Seal Sovereign, Brother Zhou?" The other woman, dressed in purple, appeared older, her face marked by the passage of time. She sat there calmly, not saying a word. "Miss Su, don't believe Brother Zhou's words. This guy always says the same thing whenever he meets any female cultivators from the Zhao River. I've heard it so many times, my ears are about to grow calluses." An elder sitting beside the middle-aged scholar chuckled and interjected. It was on Vermilion Birdstar. At that time, the Seal Sovereign was nowhere near as powerful as he is now. I remember he was still just a core formation cultivator. Honestly, I never thought he would become the Seal Sovereign. The middle-aged scholar smiled faintly, unfazed by the elder's comment, his expression showing a sense of nostalgia. The younger woman blinked, showing interest, and turned to her older companion with a playful smile. "Senior sister, I remember you once said you came from Vermilion Birdstar. Did you ever meet the Seal Sovereign?" As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the inn, including the middle-aged scholar, fell silent. All eyes turned to the woman in purple, their gazes filled with shock, admiration, and a subtle hint of respect. Even cultivators sitting at other tables stopped talking and turned their attention to the woman in purple, their expressions full of reverence. The middle-aged scholar, more eager than anyone else, immediately stood up, cupped his fists in respect, and bowed, speaking softly, "I am Zhou Dongda. I have met a fellow cultivator from Vermilion Birdstar. My earlier words were false. I hope you won't take offense." It wasn't just him. The elder, as well as many other cultivators around, whether from Luotian or Kungsu, all stood up and cupped their fists, acknowledging her presence. Especially those cultivators from the Sea of Clouds, who walked up to her and respectfully bowed. Such occurrences were rare within the 4 major star domains, but they had happened a few times. The name of the Seal Sovereign was renowned not for personal glory, but for the great events that had shaken the entire realm. To cultivators in the inner realm, the Seal Sovereign was the soul of the realm. Since the Seal Sovereign hailed from Kungsu, cultivators from Kungsu were often shown a certain level of respect in the other 3 star domains. While this respect wasn't overwhelming, it was still noticeable. The fact that the Seal Sovereign came from Vermilion Birdstar was well known, and thus, cultivators recognized the significance of Vermilion Birdstar. However, Vermilion Birdstar was a small place, and few cultivators emerged from there. As a result, encounters with such cultivators were rare. But because of this, when it was known that someone came from Vermilion Birdstar, the level of respect shown was profound. As the Taoist saying goes, when one person ascends, even the chicken and dog rise to the heavens. Vermilion Birdstar had gained respect from all cultivators in the realm due to Wang Lin alone, and this was no accident. The woman in purple seemed slightly uncomfortable with all the attention. Her face turned a bit red as she raised her jade hand to tuck her hair behind her ear. She greeted the cultivators who had come to pay respects, her voice soft as she answered her younger sister's question. I think I've met him." Her eyes showed a hint of reminiscence, and her words immediately captured the attention of everyone around, who leaned in to listen. "I'm just not sure if it was truly him." She sighed gently. "Senior Sister Zhou, please tell us more." The younger woman in the pink robe urged her excitedly. At that time, he went by the name Ma Liang. He had just reached Foundation Establishment, was cold, and somewhat indifferent. He fought alongside us on the Outer Realm battlefield and returned to the flame-scorched nation with us. If he really is the Seal Sovereign, then he must have met Li Muan there. Li Muan is still one of my closest friends. The woman in purple spoke hesitantly, her voice soft. All the surrounding cultivators listened intently. Such tales were rare, especially from a cultivator from Vermilion Birdstar. Only one young man in black, sitting at a distant table alone, silently drank from the wine in his hand. His expression was cold, with a chilling aura that made others stay away. "Master, where are you?" the young man muttered, staring blankly out of the inn's window, his eyes showing longing. But in an instant, his body trembled as he looked at a man in white who had entered through the curtain, his eyes filled with disbelief and excitement. As the woman spoke, almost all the cultivators in the inn listened attentively, some even stepping forward with expressions of yearning. Vermilion Bird Star, the hometown of the Sealing Sovereign. He grew up there, slowly walking toward the brilliance he now possesses. The middle-aged scholar sighed. I am a cultivator from the flame-scorched nation. Later, the nation underwent drastic changes, and we had to seek refuge in Xuanwu Nation. But Xuanwu Nation refused, and a war broke out between the two cultivation nations. The woman in purple seemed to relive the brutal battles of that time. Ma Liang, perhaps he really was the Sealing Sovereign. Even back then, though he was only a foundation establishment cultivator, he was already standing out. It is said that over 100 cultivators of the same rank were killed by his hand. The woman in purple said softly, her voice echoing through the inn. The moment her words were spoken, the surrounding cultivators broke into an uproar. A foundation establishment cultivator, killing over 100 of his rank. This is nearly impossible. Nothing is impossible. How could the Sealing Sovereign be something we can imagine? The lower the cultivation, the smaller the gap between individuals. But the spells and treasures a foundation establishment cultivator can use are extremely limited. To think the Sealing Sovereign was so powerful back then, no wonder he could reverse the tides during the Sea of Clouds battle. Amid the discussion, the man in white, who had entered through the curtain, touched his nose before walking up to the black-robed cultivator. He gave him a warm smile, and with a slight motion of his right hand, he gently pressed the black-robed cultivator back into his seat. Master, the black-robed cultivator was none other than 13. His eyes glowed with excitement as he sat there, his mind blank. Wang Lin's sudden appearance had caught him completely off guard. The young man in white was Wang Lin. After handling matters in the Zhao River Rainbow Realm, Wang Lin was on his way to Vermilion Bird Star to pay respects to his parents, where he planned to refine the three fundamental origins of cause and effect, life and death, and truth and falsehood. On the way, he passed through here and sensed the presence of 13 and the ancient demon's avatar, so he came over. Looking at the now grown-up 13, Wang Lin's expression softened with satisfaction. He remembered the first time he saw 13 in the demon spirit land, 13's determination and loyalty. Even after over 1,000 years, it was still the same. This child? He's becoming more and more like I was in my younger days. Wang Lin sighed softly. 13's icy aura was very similar to the one Wang Lin had when he was on Vermilion Bird Star. 13 took a deep breath, ready to speak, but upon seeing Wang Lin shake his head slightly, he fell silent. However, the fervor and respect in his eyes were palpable. To him, Wang Lin was not only his master but also his benefactor. His life had been changed because of Wang Lin, and this grace would never be forgotten, even if his soul perished. He was 13, loyal and cold 13. Later, during the war, his whereabouts became unknown. I remember the last time I saw him. He was about to leave the flame-scorched nation, and we had a brief meeting. The woman in purple spoke softly, causing the surrounding discussion to gradually quiet down. No one noticed the man in white who had just entered. All their attention had shifted to the words of the woman in purple. Later, I vaguely heard that he saved Li Muan. Under the pursuit of a core formation cultivator, they entered a very dangerous place on Vermilion Bird Star. It was called the Demonic Sea. The woman in purple's voice drifted, her thoughts echoing like memories in the inn. Listening to her words, Wang Lin took a sip from his wine cup. The passage of time filled his eyes, and a smile slowly spread across his face as memories resurfaced. He remembered the helpless gaze Li Muan had given him when the core formation cultivator chased her, and her desperate plea for help when she saw him. 13 poured more wine for his master. Core formation cultivator? Humph. Is that core formation cultivator still alive? How dare he be so arrogant to chase the Sealing Sovereign back then? If he's alive, his cultivation level can't be too high. Even if the Sealing Sovereign ignores him, I will refine his soul and destroy him. That's right. He provoked the Sealing Sovereign, and in doing so, he provoked all the Taoists from the 4 major star domains of the inner realm. Miss Zhou, what was the name of the evil cultivator who pursued the Sealing Sovereign back then? I forgot. Later on, I never saw the Sealing Venerable again. But hundreds of years later, I heard someone mention a cultivator named Wang Lin, who caused an uproar on the Vermilion Bird Star. He was originally from the Zhao Kingdom, and when he was in his early years, during his foundation establishment, He provoked a Tung clan nascent soul cultivator, who wiped out his entire family. The woman in purple shook her head, speaking softly. Many of the surrounding cultivators were hearing this for the first time and fell into silence. They could imagine how the sealing venerable must have felt after everything that had happened. Such torment of the mind and spirit was something no ordinary person could bear. Afterward, he returned to the Zhao kingdom and did something that shocked the vermilion bird star. Blood flowed like rivers. It was true blood rivers. The entire Tung clan, from the elders to the children, all perished, not a single one left alive. He showed no mercy, instead fully venting the hatred of that past. Anyone with Tung bloodline was put to death. It is said that at that time, the sky above Zhao kingdom was red with blood. The woman's voice was soft, but to the surrounding cultivators, it felt as though they were there themselves, feeling the overwhelming slaughter and hatred. In the distance, they seemed to hear, after his vengeance was finally taken, the earth-shattering roar when he eradicated the entire Tung family, leaving no roots behind. Wang Lin remained silent, drinking from his cup, his eyes filled with sorrow. 13 filled his cup again and again. It was the first time he had heard Wang Lin's story, and he fell silent as well. Now, that's what I call avenging a deep grudge. That Tung nascent soul cultivator certainly deserved to die. As for the rest of his family, some cultivators were subtly disapproving. You are not the sealing venerable. How could you understand the sorrow he endured back then? How could you understand the despair of losing every loved one? I believe the sealing venerable's actions were not unjust. A voice among the crowd responded. Amid the murmurs of the crowd, the woman's voice continued to echo. Wang Lin downed the last of his drink, put the cup down, and looked into the distance. He truly missed home. He missed his parents and wanted to pay respects, to offer them some earth from his homeland. Let's go. Wang Lin stood up and walked toward the inn's door. 13 left a few spirit stones on the table and followed behind. I've only heard of the sealing venerable's past. He had the chance to become the ruler of Vermilion Bird Star, but in the end, he chose to leave. There's a statue of him on Vermilion Bird Star, guarding there. The woman in purple spoke softly, but suddenly she seemed to sense something. She instinctively turned around to look at the inn's door. Her gaze passed over 13 and froze on Wang Lin's back. This person seems familiar. Wang Lin lifted the curtain by the inn's door, glanced back at the woman in purple, and smiled faintly. Shaking his head, he walked out. 13 followed, leaving the inn with Wang Lin. The woman in purple shuddered, frozen in place. In her mind, all she could see were the smiles of the man in white, and that figure that seemed increasingly familiar, slowly overlapping with someone she knew in her heart. Is it him? The woman in purple trembled, unable to believe it. Her mind went blank, but that smile grew clearer, more profound, as though it wanted to burst forth from her very soul. It's him. Sister, are you all right? The woman in pink beside her saw her dazed and gently nudged her a few times. Following her sister's gaze, she looked back, but all she saw was the curtain gently swaying. Not only she, but all the surrounding cultivators looked as well. But apart from the curtain gently swaying, there was no one in sight. It's nothing. The woman in purple, whose name was Zhou Zihong, instinctively tucked a few stray strands of hair behind her ear. She fell into silence for a moment before continuing to softly recount the memories she held, her lips curling into a faint, melancholic smile as she spoke, her mind drifting to the moment Wang Lin had turned around, that smile on his face. On a high peak in the Market District Cultivation Star, the mountain wind howled, as if it wanted to carry the earth and embrace the sky. At the summit of the peak, Wang Lin stood there, facing 13, who was kneeling on one knee. Master, 13 wishes to stay by your side forever. 13, you were my first disciple, and the one who has been by my side the longest. Wang Lin's voice was soft as he looked at 13 with a kind expression. 13 nodded gently, his gaze toward Wang Lin filled with affection. To him, Wang Lin was not just a master, but a father. But a young bird must face the wind and reign alone if it is to grow. It must feel the vastness of the heavens and earth, and under the storm, become the heavenly rock that soars above the clouds. This, you have done well in the past. Wang Lin patted 13's shoulder gently, his voice quiet. But master, 13 began to speak, But Wang Lin shook his head and interrupted him. 13. As my disciple, you cannot be the kind of cultivator who only gazes at the sky under my protection. My disciple, Wang Lin, must have the heart to defy heaven itself, the determination and resolve to shake the very earth. Wang Lin looked at 13 and spoke slowly. My disciple, Wang Lin's disciple, should be like a dragon among men, soaring above the 9 heavens. Under the respect of all cultivators, he should proclaim that he is the first disciple of Wang Lin. Master, 13's expression was filled with excitement as he nodded heavily. Of course, if anyone dares to bully you, I will never allow it. From today on, you will walk your own path, using the name of my first disciple, and carve out a journey that belongs solely to you. 13. Wang Lin had the most affection for this disciple. 13. In terms of emotions, he had invested the most. As he spoke, his right hand raised and gently patted the top of 13's head. Perhaps everyone misunderstood. I never said that it's time for mortal transformation now. I'm saying that it's slowly brewing. When the time comes, everyone will naturally see it. As for the exact time, I cannot say for sure.